let's start our webinar, challenges that telecom operators are facing. All challenges are new, and most important, how to deal with them, how to overcome them. This webinar is going to be conducted by myself, Andriy Zelenko. I'm CEO of PortaOne, and my colleague, Enzo Visito, director of PortaOne's UCaaS division. And Enzo brings to the table a combination of knowledge from his past and now ability to apply it through our technologies. Welcome, Enzo.
Thank you, Andriy. So, well, I would say good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I know we often welcome people from all over the globe to the PortaOne webinars, and thank you all very much for joining. I hope that you're going to find the webinar today informative and also very useful, and perhaps some of the things we talk about today will resonate with some of the challenges that you're all facing. If you do have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to just make a note and send those questions through, and we will make an attempt to answer as many questions as we can at the end of the session. As Andriy said, my background is very much, I was kind of once in your shoes. I got into the hosted market back in 2007. So that was early days then, when some of the challenges we were facing were not so much around the switches, but very much around the broadband and the connectivity. I indeed had bought a switch myself, a Broadworks, and I'm all too familiar with some of the challenges that brings and some of the heavy costs that also brings as well. Not alone licenses, but also maintenance. So I'm certainly aware of how that model works and of first-hand experience. And it's amazing the way the market has changed. And we've seen, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the presentation, but just thinking back to 2007, where you would provide a license to an end user, and then you would be able to bill those minutes on a monthly basis, and at the same time, be able to sell some hardware, a handset of your choice. And I look very much at where the market is today, and I see a license that has been driven down in cost. I see minutes that are actually inclusive. I see hardware that is actually inclusive. So it just gives you a flavor, and that's only in the last 15 years or so, how the market has changed and the way the costs have been driven down. So in terms of some of the challenges, and I wonder if these will resonate with you, gaining and retaining customers, that's a huge challenge for most people. Everybody talks about net gains. Not only are you trying to bring new business on board, but you are trying to stop competitors taking your existing customers. And as that market becomes more competitive, it becomes a bigger challenge. So ultimately, you end up in a situation where you are trying to protect what you've got. And then you have issues around keeping up with competition, because again, with every new player on the block, again, if I think back to the early days where there was a handful of players, there are so many people in this marketplace right now, and the competition just gets tougher and tougher. And that in turn means it's harder to increase and maintain those margins. And everybody's always looking for the next best thing. And in order to do that, you're going to need to partner with somebody that can keep providing you with the next best thing, that's going to keep you ahead of the game. So where we end up with is my hamburger slide, as I call it. You've got a couple of issues, and it's coming from different angles. On one angle, you've got the pressure from your customers. They're increasingly asking for more things. They're increasingly asking you to be more innovative. And at the same time, you've got supplier costs, not to mention the market prices that are being driven down. And as you can see, for some people, unfortunately, they sit right in the middle of the hamburger. And the questions being asked is, where is the profit today? And where's it going to come from? So what we're going to do now, we're going to do a bit of a live poll, because it's always good to understand what you're thinking. And we've got a question that we thought about carefully, and it's, have you been affected by any of the following? And that is increased costs, lack of development, lack of functionality, tools that are hard to interact with. And that's thinking about your supplier. So if you'd all take a moment, please, to just click, thank you, Andrei, on the screen, and just let us know your thoughts.
Okay, so I'm going to end polling, and I'm going to share the results with you. So you will see it, and we can see that majority of people, they're affected by a lack of development on the platform side, and then also followed by lack of functionality and interactions of the processes and user experience. And increased cost is the last one. Okay, so
thank you.
Okay, I'll pass the microphone back to Enzo.
Okay. Thank you, Andrei. Interesting then that really the bottom three, it's pretty much an even spread amongst all of you, that you're seeing that more and more. Is that because the suppliers are now trying to be more competitive, but therefore the challenges you face tend to be around development, functionality, and the tools that are hard to interact with? And some of those new challenges come from some of those suppliers, and many of you on this call today will be aligned with one of those suppliers. And we've seen some changes in the marketplace. And I have experience in dealing with some of these companies across my career. And some of the top three there you can see, we know for a fact, are now going direct to those customers. And that presents a challenge for you, their customer, if you find yourself competing on a day-to-day basis with your supplier. And then, of course, you've got the BroadSofts and the Metaswitches, who are no longer independent now because of Cisco or Microsoft. And the question being asked, which came up, funny enough, in the poll, is around development. And are they producing the solutions fast enough to keep you at pace with the rest of the market and where that's going? So when you look at those challenges, there are a lot of unknowns out there. And ultimately what people want is they want some security, they want a roadmap, they want some direction, they want that interaction with their supplier that's letting them know what's coming down the line and what the next best thing is. And in some cases, we do know for a fact that some costs have gone up, whether it be maintenance costs or indeed sometimes license costs, or perhaps new offerings that are being put out there that are now at increased prices because they are being driven by those new owners of the business. So when we look at what the end customers are asking for, what your end customers are asking for, they want to improve their customer experience. That's important because the same challenges you have, they have. It's just a little bit further down the line. They themselves want to keep their customers happy, and they need to be easy to do business with. And it's your technology that's going to help them do that. And also how people collaborate and communicate more easily. If one thing this disaster that's COVID has taught us is the ability now to be able to have messaging, audio, video through any medium, whether it be at home because of the drive or increase in home workers, perhaps the road warriors that perhaps will come back now if we get to the point where we'll be able to meet each other again. But the reality is no matter where you are in the world or what you are doing, the ability to communicate easily, and I stress easily, it's all well and good having wonderful solutions. If they are not easy to use, this in turn just causes more complication. And also business continuity and security. Certainly, I know in some key verticals for your end users, this is going to be absolutely critical. And that could be anything from some of the hacking stories we've seen on how secure people's networks are, or databases being stolen, right down to, for those in the UK, a simple bit of bad weather, which will grind the country to a halt. It could be anything. So continuity is absolutely key. And then in turn, analytics. And what we mean by that is it's only good data that will help you understand where your business is going to be more effective. And also that data that you give your end users, what will help them improve and to understand. It could be anything from When is my busiest hour? When do I receive most of my calls? When do my customers interact with me? How do they want to interact with me? All that information just makes you a better supplier. And ultimately, of course, everybody wants this through a very simple portal. And when I say simple portal, it's trying to collect all that information and drive it through the one portal. Many of you will be in situations now where you may have different solutions. How many of those are driven through the same portal? Or are you in a situation where you are accessing different portals to access different solutions, and your customers in turn need to do the same? So the opportunity is still there, very much so. The number of Cloud VoIP users is expected to double in most countries. That is a fact. I've seen that happen. I mean, I can only talk, I'm talking to you today from London, but I can tell you now in the UK, where we have approximately 20 million PBX users, or business voice users. That hosted market today is probably around 5 million. So that tells you, even in the UK, which is pretty far ahead, you'd like to think in terms of broadband connectivity, we have still got an open market of around 15 million users. If you then replicate that story across other countries, there is a huge opportunity out there. There is still a lot of users out there that will need to migrate to the cloud. And there is a way to differentiate your offering and grow your customers and margins. And we'd like to think that for the last 20 years, we've been helping a lot of companies do that across many countries across the world. And what I'm going to end with, before I pass back to Andre, is a small selection of customers today that have come across to PortaOne and are enjoying good margins, they're enjoying new product sets, and they're enjoying the fact that they are staying ahead of the game. So with that, I'll hand back now to Andre, who will tell you a little bit more about that and the company.
Hello again, everybody. And these names we have here, we put them obviously because they are recognizable. We have over 400 of smaller players, and I actually like to boast more about this smaller project, because this was truly the situation when a different approach chosen by the operator and tools which we provided, it allowed them to successfully compete with larger operators, those who have more budget, more network, more employees. But these days, with a proliferation of broadband access and applications, it's a great equalizer. So now the telco who has the better plan is going to win, not just the one who has more money in the bank right now. And I'd like to think about PortaOne, for those of you who are not familiar with us, as a boutique supplier of telecom backend infrastructure, hosted PBX system, billing, and we are specifically focused on tier 2 and tier 3 operators, although we do have some tier 1s. We have about 250 employees, and our main focus is providing an open platform for you to innovate and adapt to the market challenges. What makes us different, and what can we offer in terms of tools which will make your service different? We offer unlimited and perpetual licenses for our product. So you'll get all the available functionality. There is no extra charges for number of subscribers or number of calls. And the development we do on the platform, it is included as a part of our standard maintenance. So the system is going to evolve, it's going to grow, and you will have access to that functionality. That provides lower cost, total cost of ownership, and compared to some of the major providers, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be at least 50% cheaper, which is important these days because the profit margins are dwindling in telecom industry. So it's important to have there some leverage to be able to utilize it. And in order to be able to deliver a solution that customer wants. You have to be able to construct it, to design it. One size fits all is not applicable anymore. And our approach is to provide platform with a basic functionality, but then leave it fully open, provide APIs, provide even access to the source code should you choose to do so, and allow to create integrations and custom design solutions by you or even by your channel partners, because they may know better how to serve specific customer niche. And from our side, we will back it with agile development cycle of only 7 weeks. So 7 weeks for a new software release, which means from the time that you come to us with an idea about some functionality until the time when it's implemented, tested, integrated, and delivered to your platform, it's only going to take a few months. And I was talking earlier about the efficiency. It's important that services provisioned instantaneously. Humans cannot do it fast enough. With a variety of different customer segments, and it's impossible to do it manually. So we encourage you to utilize workflow automation and low-code programming to connect your system to whichever system is going to be required. We recently launched a new mobile operator, virtual operator in South Africa, and the whole integration with the mobile network took just a few months of calendar time done by a single engineer using low-code iPaaS workflows platform. And we are happy to share success stories and patterns among other operators, since we have them in 90 different countries and usually they're not a competitor to each other. They are happy to share and tell about what kind of ideas they have tried and what worked for them. On the platform side, we want to make sure you have a reliable platform which works, which is supported 24/7, and it can be installed in a data center. Some of you still prefer this. It can be installed in cloud. It can run on multiple sites, maybe some in data centers, some are in cloud on different continents to improve network quality of service, or just provide a resiliency. A few months ago, there was a huge fire in OVH data center in Frankfurt, and I know it had affected quite a lot of companies who had their equipment there. We also had some of our infrastructure there, but it was also backed to the Oracle Cloud location, so we haven't suffered any service outages, but our IT team had to work hard to overcome it. And on the platform side, what we offer is, of course, basic hosted PBX, Unified Communications Service Platform. And then that's the next layer is your ability to differentiate and design solution for specific segments, whether it's a call center for small businesses or ability to create mobile application, which can be targeted retail customers, can be targeted specific customer segment, easily customized, and analytics and business intelligence. And I'm going to do another poll, and I'm going to ask you about what other add-ons you would like to have, you would like to be able to bundle into your communication service to be more competitive, to attract new customers, and to grow your business. Okay, so if you were to wave a magic wand and 3 new integrations, 3 new modules would appear in your communication service tomorrow, what that would be? And ask you to limit it just to 3 options, because it would be great to have all of them, but then we would lose focus and it would be difficult to correctly interpret the results. Okay, so the top pick is actually ability to call from mobile app or website. And then the next one who got the most, it's the call center functionality. And then I think then we have about the equal rating integration with CRM, call statistics and wallboards, and collaboration in MS Teams, which are roughly the same thing. Okay, and I was asking these questions just to make sure we can correctly address the development which we're doing on the iPaaS side. And our vision here is that we as a vendor, although we have 250 engineers on staff, we will not be able to keep up with the needs of you operators for different type of solutions. So we're creating a cloud telephony marketplace, iPaaS, which will allow you to use value-added services modules, which some of them are developed by us. Some of them are developed by our technology partners, for instance, Yealink and Snom. They're developing auto-provisioning modules for their phones. So when the new phone model hits the market, it can be auto-provisioned and managed from PortaSwitch in a matter of weeks after it has been released, or by third-party developers. So whether it's Microsoft Teams integration or CRM or something specific to a region or a country, and can be placed there, and then you as a provider can have access to it and activate it instantaneously and boost your product offer. Or also, if you have a development team and if you're creating new modules, you will be able to publish your own application to the market. And our discussion and our action points, which is the most important, I have put it in a framework to be used to deal with the challenges that operators are facing today. Well, first of all, it's focus. So focus on specific customer groups and segments, because as I said, one size fits all is not going to work anymore. In order to be able to support with focus, you need to make sure your processes are automated, because if you sell one product, it's okay to do some manual work. If you have 10 different types of solutions, human will get confused, so only the automated tools can handle it well. And sometimes you may need to involve channels because they will know better what kind of solutions are required by a specific customer segment. And of course, support, whether it's your direct customers or channels. In order to be able to build a product these customer groups are going to like, we need to have sufficient amount of building blocks in our Lego constructor. So that includes value-added services, modules, and integrations with systems, whether it's CRM or ERP or something which is required by local market or customer niche. And then that has to be anchored, that has to be balanced on the operating costs, which should be predictable, low, and will allow you to build all this pyramid to the top and have sufficient amount of money for your profits. And as I mentioned earlier, we're happy to share some of the past success cases and ideas that our operators are using in different markets, and talk about your project, how we can help you to reduce operating costs, increase your margins, and provide a better PBX service. Okay. I will check the Q&A section, okay, what we have. Okay. I have a question about the development and the fact I mentioned the source code, whether it's where you are supposed to do your own development. You're not. Our idea is, of course, to provide a platform which will work out of the box. However, should you decide to enhance it, should you decide to build some integrations, there's an API layer available for your integrations, and majority of things which people do around our platform is done for APIs. This is easier for third-party developers, but this is also easier for our support. So access to the source code, it's just as our manifesto of being totally open and always providing fair pricing on professional services, on customization, so we'll never overcharge you there. And in case of some advanced customizations required, and we do have customers who went deep, but majority of our customers, they are just staying on top of the APIs, and that's sufficient for all the integrations they're going to do. Okay. I would like to thank you all who participated in the webinar. If you have any follow-up questions, please contact us. You have Enzo's information here, and we're here to help you to build a better future for your communication service. Thank you very much.